So, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll discuss the metaphysics of space-time. There is 6 planets that rule space and the time, and they all work by a position. It's a dichotomy. It's extremely simple. If you understand them by dichotomies, the system gets much easier, because every time one of those planets is present, the other one is either in full, or it's being consumed. So let's start. First of all, we have Epsilon. This one is eternal time or linear time. The time you can count on a clock, the time it needs to do something. So I don't know, you're making a recipe. It says cook this recipe in the oven for 2 hours. That's Epsilonian time. For any type of thing you can measure, any amount of time that's gonna happen eventually, you have Epsilon. This time is quite literally eternal. It's eternal on a macroscopic level, paired with its opposite Neptune, because Neptune instead is timeless time. So it's like a form of virtual time, a time you cannot specify. It's time when it's in correlation with Epsilon. So it works as sort of like, so Neptune is the unknown. If Epsilon is quantification, anything you can define, anything you can quantify, and quantification necessitates space-time. It needs the basic framework of reality, the material reality, to be able to quantify stuff. Neptune does not need this, because Neptune is the opposite. It's the unknown, it's the unquantifiable, the diverse, the anything that has not been identified yet. Like, for example, a very interesting aspect of this is that Neptune, which rules oceans, in the bottom of the oceans, there's an insane amount of species we haven't defined on the bottom of the ocean. Water can contain infinite amount of undefined species. This is Epsilon and Neptune. One works as a definer, so it quantifies a specific amount of something, of time, and the other one dequantifies, or it just completely lacks it, this specific amount of time. To end this, I must add that every time a sign or a person is very strong on the Epsilonian time, it's gonna be very much now wanting to waste time, or at least it's gonna need precise time definitions. Moving on, we have Uranian time and moon time. Uranus is the present time, but Uranus is present time in matters of pure seconds, in pure instants, a very strong wave that is not continuous. It's like a beat. Uranus works as a beat. So if you think about it, Pluto Virgo, in the 60s, we have the great emergence of rock, or more Percussion-based music, which is Uranian. Uranus is very important for this type of music as well. So Uranus is Kairos, the present as a series of moments. Is literally just the present. So Uranus rules being awake. Uranus is when you are awake, so you feel every moment. You want to capture the moment. It does specifically that. So you're awake and you probably work. Uranus obviously rules work, because when you work, you want to capture the time, every single moment. You want to work as efficiently as possible. But if you're strong on the moon aspect, so you have a strong moon, it works very much differently. Moon is past time. The future does not really exist on itself, because the present is the opposite of the past and vice versa. And the moon rules the past. The moon is the soft waves you get when sleeping, the REM waves are asleep. When you sleep, you don't really perceive time, you don't really perceive the present. Time doesn't really feel like it's moving much of it all. Like you don't perceive it, because it's not Uranian time, you're not awake, the brain's not in that phase because moon is past time. So any sign with a strong moon, for example, the Cancer is very notorious. Cancer is the nostalgia sign. It's gonna force a strong past, gonna emphasize past. And this past is consumed, for example, in Virgo, because moon falls in Virgo, this past data is consumed to focus on the present. So if you're focusing on the present, you can focus on the past and vice versa. Interesting aspect of the moon, since the moon is also domiciled, there's a second domicile in Leo. So Leo moon sort of works as this pair with the sun. It puts the ego on the contest of the past. So my past is the best past. So I don't know, you have a moon in Leo. My childhood was the best childhood. My emotions are the best emotions. Something, it also appears like this. So this lunar time is very interesting because it forces the sign, the person, to really focus on the past. Moving on, we have Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury is very interesting because it's the acceleration of time. It's not time itself, but rather it's acceleration. It makes stuff go faster. It's exalted in Scorpio. So Scorpios, when after their Pluto desire kicks in and Mars activates too, so they start going for that stuff, they get really fast. They get really frantic. They get really frenetic. They want to do everything fast. It also makes Mercury also a flow. It's a constant flow, very different from Epsilon, although it pairs well. Mercury goes in flow. It's not like Uranus. It's not like seizing the moments. It's not like it's a constant flow of time because it's accelerating. So it needs to be continuous. Mercury has this acceleration of time, so when you see Mercury, everything goes faster. Interestingly, when you have a Mercury retrograde, everything mercurial goes slower. It does the opposite. It's getting slowed down. It works very much like that. So every time you get into a Mercury retrograde, you see yourself how this thing slows down. Mercury is also local space, so it's very small space. It's space when the flow is very continuous. It's very rapid. The more close it is, the faster it goes. Well, Jupiter is the opposite. Jupiter is not time. Jupiter is space, the dilation of it. It's expansion of space. So if Jupiter is expansion of space, you can see how this opposite the Mercury. Jupiter, by expanding space, it also dilates time. Because the farther away you go, the slower stuff arrives to you. The slower the communication gets, the slower the mercurial exchanges get. So when Jupiter is strong, so I don't know, you're Taurus, you have a Jupiter exalted, it's gonna slow down your Mercury. The Taurians are notoriously slow, not because they have a bad Mercury, but because Jupiter, by expanding space, makes them slower. Also, if you get bigger stuff moves slower. It's less agile, of course. Just on a simpler note. But when Jupiter expands, when Jupiter does its thing, it dilates time. So it goes slower. Vice versa with Mercury. When you're getting faster, when stuff is accelerating, there is not much expansion. Everything is shrinking. Also, Jupiter is literally distant. So if Mercury is here, and not necessarily now, it's now only when paired with Epsilon and Uranus. That's very important. That's why both Geminis and Virgos have that planets both in the structure. Mercury is only here, and Jupiter is there. It's very far away. You get this? It's very simple. So all the 6 planets, how they work, just in general. So when you see a strong emphasis of one of the planets, you can expect the other one to just be exiled, to be consumed by the other planet. I have a bit of an example to explain you how this thing works, just by some signs, nothing really very long. We have Taurus, which has Jupiter exalted, so it expands. Exile of Mercury, so it doesn't shrink, it gets slower. and the Saturn's transference to give it space, to give it structure, we get expansion of space, which slows down time, which decelerates. I already explained this. Then we have Aquarius. Aquarius is very interesting because we are pairing Uranus, present, and Neptune. So we are pairing undefinition, we are pairing confusion with the present. When you pair confusion with the present, you get the future. The future is not something you really know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't predict it because it's innately Neptunian. It might or might not happen. So when Aquarius is emphasized, expect a lot of future type of thinking. So if you were living during the strong Neptune in Aquarius on the early 2000s, you do remember the general theme of everything's gonna go good, everything's gonna turn out good, general optimism of this Aquarian Neptune that basically forces the future to be idealized as much as possible. So Uranus plus Neptune equals the future. This is very simple. While Uranus exalted, so we are exalting, we have an excess of the present, and a domicile of Epsilon and Mercury, plus the fall of Moon, makes an eternally defined present time, which is the time of the chores, the times of work. So we are freezing time because Virgo freezes time in this sense. So we live in eternal present. And a very specific one at that, which blurs out the rest of reality. So the Piscean all-encompassingness is completely blurred out by this Virgo process of freezing time and space in the now, here, doing the same task all over and over again. While Sagittarius, which has Jupiter first domicile, so it starts literally with expansion. With Neptune, I did a bit of a typo here. It should be Neptune second domicile, means that Sagittarius infinitely dilates space. So Sagittarius, like to reach the border of the Earth, you see there's always vaster lands. But it's not like already infinite like Pisces. Pisces is already like the whole infinity in itself. In Sagittarius, it's not already infinite because we don't start with Neptune, we start with Jupiter. So it's an infinite that dilates progressively. The more you go, the farther you go, the more it dilates, the more Mercury falls, the more it's now local, the more it's expanded. While in Pisces, it does the opposite. You start with Neptune, so you start with the infinite, while with the second domicile, and the moon exalted especially, you do recover the past. So you have all those emotions, all emotions derive from the past. They usually come from infancy, which is literally childhood, which is literally part of the moon significations. All emotions are actually very, very interestingly, very mechanical. All emotions do actually work mechanically. Emotions they're not random. They seem very vague, especially with Peruvian Neptune. They feel very vague. It's very dreamy, the Piscean experience. But they're actually very, very mechanical. So they're all tied to specific symbologies, to specific traumas. You will rarely experience new emotions. Pisces is the sign of experiencing new emotions, but for Cancer and Leo, it does not work like this, nor is for Sag. Sag has a transparent, so it tries to recover its emotions. The emotions are recovered. So you have this infinite dilation of space. This is samples of how this thing works. Thanks for everything and bye.